So, chapter 10, controversia. So, the grammar we saw in this chapter, we saw the present tense had to say we or you plural something. Right? So, when we saw the pronouns, so the we plural, the we pronoun is nos, N-O-S, and the you plural pronoun is wos. That's nominative plural. Also, we'll see the accusative forms are also going to be nos and wos for those words. Right? So, nos, we, wos, us. Don't get those confused. Nos is we, wos is you plural. I think I said that wrong before. So nos is we or us if it's accusative, and wos, vos, is you plural. Okay. Also, we saw the comparative degree. Right? We saw this before. We saw that there were degrees of adjectives, the positive, comparative, and the superlative. We saw the positive, that was just the plain form of the adjective, so tall, fast, and the superlative, so very tall, very fast, or tallest, fastest. The comparative is in the middle, so rather tall, rather fast, or taller or faster if you're comparing. Right? And comparatives are formed for regular adjectives with the ending IOR if it's nominative singular, and then IOR plus third declension endings for anything else. Right? So nominative plural would be EORES, IORES. We also saw a few irregulars. So magna, the positive for big or large, becomes maior, M-A-I-O-R, larger or rather large. Bona or bonus, good, goes to melior, right? So better. Right? And before we saw optimus or best, right? Right, so controversia, the first translation is kind of long. Let's look at the first 12 lines. We're just going to mark the verbs here in red. So habebat, erat, ebat, erat again, habitabat, erat, ducebat, venerant, adoerant, nuntiavit, sunt, exclamavit, sumus, audivit, respondit, est, quirimus, and quirimus again. Okay. So first sentence, quintus amicum graecum habebat. So the verb is habebat. The nominative is quintus, of course, right? Second declension, nominative singular. Quintus had amicum graecum, a Greek friend. Amicus erat Alexander. The friend was Alexander. Quintus et Alexander ad Palestrum ebant. So ebant, they were going. Who were going? The nominatives. Quintus and Alexander were going ad Palestrum, to the palestra, or the exercise yard. Ubi, remember, it could be where or when. We just mentioned a place, so where is going to sound better here. Where a rhetor Graecus erat. So a Greek rhetor, just say teacher, was. Right? Erat, of course, is what tense? Imperfect, right? The exception to the BA rule. Hic rhetor erat Theodorus. So hic, remember the hic, haec, hoc pronouns that we're going to see more fully later, are this or these, right? So this rhetor or teacher was Theodorus. Et and prope palestrum habitabat. So and habitabat, he was living, right? In perfect tense, because you're not going to live in one simple complete action, right? It goes on for a while. So he was living prope palestrum, near the exercise yard, near the palestra. In palestra, so prepositional phrase, in the palestra erat porticus longa, was a long portico. Remember, that's a covered walkway flanked by columns. Ubi, just mentioned a place, so where is going to sound better. Where Theodorus Euenes docebat. So where Theodorus was teaching or would teach, repeated action, I might say would teach, Euenes, a young man. Juventus, third declension, es, could be nominative or accusative, but it's a singular verb, so there's nothing to think about here. It's got to be accusative. It can't be the subject if it's a singular verb. Right? A plural subject would have to have a plural verb. Postquam ad hoc porticum venerant. So after venerant, they came, right? Perfect tense. The errant, of course, is a clue. Also the long E. So after they came to this portico, Alexander and Quintus retorum adoverant. So they heard the rhetor. Rhetor, of course, accusative of the third declension. Rhetor juvenibus controversiam nuntiavit. Right, so nuntiavit, that's a verb, announced. The subject is rhetor. That's third declension nominative singular. Can't be anything else. So the teacher announced a controversiam, that's the accusative, right? That's what's being announced. An argument. Juvenibus. It's got to be our indirect object, the dative, right? He announced an argument to the young men. Ebus, dative. Graecis meliores quam Romani. So Greeks are meliores quam Romani. So meliores is a comparative adjective, right? It's that irregular comparative from bonus, good, right? And it is nominative plural here. So that's why it takes an es to the IOR, right? So Greeks are better. Okay, so with a comparative, quam usually means than. So if you see quam with a comparative, think than. So Greeks are better than Romans. Romani would also be nominative, right? Because it's kind of shorthand for Greeks are better than Romans are. And that's the way than works. Quintus vehementer exclamavit. So Quintus shouted energetically or loudly, minime, no, nos Romani sumus meliores quam Graeci. So nos Romani sumus, we Romans are meliores, better, and there's our quam with the comparative again, than the Greeks. Theodorus, postquam hanc sententiam audiuit. So after audiuit, he heard this opinion, responded, right? So main clause, Theodorus responded, and then the subordinate clause, after he heard this opinion, right? Looks like sentence, right? You express your opinion in a sentence, right? And the hanc word is a H pronoun, an H word, so it's this opinion. So what did he respond? Haec est tua sententia. So haec, another he code pronoun. So this is tua sententia. Tua, the possessive from you, so your opinion. Nos tamen, we, however, non sententiam quarimus, we do not seek, right? Non quarimus sententiam, opinion. So we verbs are going to end in mus, right? This is present tense here. It'd be no less true for the imperfect and the perfect when we see that, but here it's just present they're giving you. So we, however, non quarimus, we do not seek mus, we do not seek opinion. Nos argumentum quarimus, we seek argumentum, we seek proof. Right? So quarimus by itself, of course, is we seek, right? We don't need the nos, right? Remember that we mentioned that before with other pronouns. Still true for nos. Quarimus by itself, because the mus ending tells me that it's we something, so I don't need the nos. So usually when they include a nos, it's for emphasis. All right, so let's go on here. So tum quintus, rhetori et amicis argumentum explicavit. So then quintus, rhetori et amicis argumentum explicavit. The verb is explicavit, right? And the subject is quintus. Just underline him in red too. So Quintus explains, all right, a bunch of other words here. I only want the accusative right now, right? I want the direct object. So he explained the accusative, argumentum. He explained his proof. Then we have rhetori and amicis. Right? What case can they be? They got to be the same, linked by and. So it is dative, right? Rhetori is third declension, dative singular. Amicis is dative plural, second declension. So indirect object dative here, right? So he explained the accusative to the dative. He explained the direct object to the indirect object. He explained his proof to the rhetor and his friends. Okay, so nos Romani sumus fortissimi. So sumus, we are, right? Even without nos, we already know it was we are. So we Romans are fortissimi, which of course is what degree of an adjective? That's superlative, right? The issimus, here, issimi ending. So ISSIM plus a first and second declension ending. It's for most adjectives, the way they form their superlative. So we are the strongest or the bravest, either one works, or very strong or very brave, that's also fine. Nos barbaros ferocissimos superamos. So we superamos, we overcome, overpower. Barbaros ferocissimos, so very fierce barbarians. So ferocissimos, another superlative here, right? Very fierce, or the fiercest, we could say. Barbarians. Barbarians for anyone who spoke a language other than Greek or Latin, right? Because it sounded like the barking of dogs to them. Bar, bar, bar. Nos imperium maximum habemus. So habemus, we have the greatest maximum imperium, empire. So maximum, an irregular superlative that we've seen. We have the greatest empire. Nos pacem servamus. We servamus, not serve, but preserve. Right? We preserve or keep, save, pacem, the peace. Right? The nominative of pacem would be pax, P-I-X. So it goes to pacem and the accusative. Third declension, of course, right? Vos Greci semper contentionis habetis. So the tis ending tells me it's you plural. So I don't need the vos. They give it to you anyway. We don't need it. So you plural have, right? You Greci, you Greeks have. You semper, always, right? Semper means always. It means you're semper fidelis, always loyal. So you Greeks always have contentiones, arguments. Vos semper estis turbulentis. Estis, that's our you plural for the to be verb, right? You plural are. So you always are, you semper are turbulenti, rowdy. A lot of rowdy people in this book, apparently. Nos sumus architecti optimi. So we are architects. What kind? Optimi, the best architects, right? That irregular superlative of bonus. So bonus is positive, melior comparative, optimus superlative. So we are the best architects. Nos vias et pontes ubique edificamus. So we build the accusative, vias et pontes. So streets or roads and bridges, ubique everywhere, right? Ubiquitous means it's present everywhere, so ubique everywhere. Orbs Roma es major, so the city of Rome, Orbs Roma is major, bigger, greater, and here's quam with a comparative, so it's got to mean than, right? Bigger or greater than all the other cities, right? Postremo, finally, nos Romani diligentur laboramus. So we Romans laboramus, right? Moose tells me it's we work diligentur, carefully, diligently, hard. Dei igitur nobis imperium maximum dant. Right? The verbs dant, give. Who gives? Dei, the gods, right? Usually the Romans would just write di here for the plural of gods, but they're giving you dei for plural deus, right? Deus, dei. But in real Latin, you'll see di more common. So the gods, igitur, therefore, dant, they give. Okay, what do they give? They give the accusative. They give the greatest empire. And the nobis here is a dative of nos, right? So the dative of nos is nobis. The dative of vos, as we've seen, is vobis. So those two words form a lot alike. Just remember the N1 is we, and the V1 is you, plural. So they give the accusative, the greatest empire, to the dative, nobis, to us. Vos Greci estis ignavi. So you Greeks, estis, remember it's you plural are. Ignavi, so lazy or cowardly. So given that the next line says you never work, probably we should go with lazy here. So you Greeks are lazy, ignavi. Right? Notice how the ending on the adjective agrees with the noun it's going with, that it's nominative plural. Vos nunquam laboratis, so you never work. Right? Here's our tis ending for you plural again. So you never work. Dei again for gods. The gods give. They give. The accusative here's nihil. Nihil is actually indeclinable. It doesn't take endings, so it's always nihil. So the gods give nothing. Vobis is our dative here, to you. Right? So vobis, to or for you. Nobis, to or for us. So postquam quintus hanc sententiam explicavit Juvenes Pompei vehementer plauserant et eam laudaverant. Diem Alexander surrexit Juvenes Pompeiani tacuerant et Alexandrum intente spectaverant. So postquam, after Quintus did what? Explicavit, explain the accusative hanc sententiam, this opinion, or the H words are this or these. Juvenes Pompeiani, so the young Pompeian men, Juvenes young men, Pompeian, so the young Pompeian men energetically applauded, clapped, we could say. Comes from plaudo, so the errant, of course, sounds B is perfect, but also the S is a stem clue that is perfect here. It comes from plaudo. It would be a D if it was present. Okay, so they energetically applauded and they eum laudaverant. They praised him. Okay, eum is him. Right? So this comes from a group of pronouns called the is, id pronouns. They're kind of like he, she, and it. We'll see the forms for that later. But eum, with that um ending, is him. Eam, which I'm going to crudely write over here, maybe, would be her. Right, so you've probably noticed the way first declension nouns tend to be feminine, and second declension nouns tend to be masculine. Right, we'll see neuters later. So it's not surprising that an am here would be feminine and a masculine. Right, we'll see that pattern repeatedly. So praised him. Diende, then, good word to remember. Alexander surrexit. The X, of course, is the clue that's perfect. So Alexander rose. Juvenes Pompeiani tacuerant. So the young Pompeian men again, tacuerant, became quiet. And they intently spectaverant, so intently or closely looked at Alexandrum here. Okay. Vos Romani estis miserandi. Vos imperium maximum habetis. Sed vos estis imitatores. Nos Graeci sumus auctores. Vos Graeca statua spectatis, vos Graecos libros legitis, Graecos rhetores auditis, vos Romani estis ridiculi, quod estis Graeciores quam nos Graeci. So gloves are off. So he says, vos Romani, you Romans, estis, we saw as you plural, so you plural are, miserandi, pathetic. Vos imperium maximum habetis, so tis again for you plural, you have the greatest empire, but vos estis, you are, again, imitatores, just what it looks like, imitators. Nos Graeci sumus auctores, we Greeks are the originators, right? The creators. You're just copying us, Romans. So we Greeks, sumus, are the creators, the originators. Vos Graeca statua spectatis, again, you plural, spectatis, you look at Graeca statuas, Greek statues. You legatus, you read Graecos libros, Greek books. Graecos rhetores auditus. Notice how Graecos, the adjective, is coming first here. Probably because he's emphasizing the Greekness of these things. So you auditus, you listen to Greek rhetors. Vos Romani estis ridiculi. So you Romans are ridiculous. Because estis, you plural are, Graeciores, Greekier, because that's totally a word now. You are Greekier, and then quam, go with the superlative, means than. You are Greekier than we Greeks. So you're more Greek than we Greeks are. Whatever sense that makes. Juvenes, postquam Alexander sententiam suum explicavit, reserant. So the young men, after Alexander explicavit, after he explained his opinion, right? Suam here, remember these S words that we've seen before are reflexive. They refer back to the subject. This is a possessive adjective referring back to Alexander because it's reflexive. So Alexander explained his opinion. So after he explained his opinion, the UN as reserent. The young men laughed, reserent. Right? Remember, rideo, smile or laugh. So in the perfect tense, it has an S in the stem, so the D becomes an S, and of course, errant, we recognize as the perfect tense ending. Tum Theodorus nuntiavit, then Theodorus announced, Alexander victor est. Alexander is a winner. Oh, that's totally a fix. Surely, yeah, the one that the rhetor agrees with wins the argument. Argumentum optimum explicavit. He explained the best proof. Yeah, he laid out the best argument. Sure he did. But you're still part of the Roman Empire, so deal with it. Till next time.